you could always add more to a painting, but you need to realize that the painting's already been done.
Stop.
Like, what day and moment was I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Right.
I wish I could go back and kick that son of a bitch in the dick.
Whatever somebody's going through, like,
I really
even
thought
like,
you were talking for a
even
second.
the little things are things that like progressively get bigger. Like, there's ways around it. There's ways to like go through it. It really is.
Everything is a process. Everything changes with every decision that you make.
This is me versus me.
Piece of shit. I'm fighting with everything right now. Do you ever think about that statement in there?
Of what I said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm gonna fucking break this thing. Whatever. I was just wondering because it's almost like a vague statement, but it's really relative to everything.
Mhm.
That's why every time I hear it, I'm like, how do I deal with this?
Mhm.
So it works.
One day at a time.
Yeah. Everything. What'd you say? There's ways to deal with it. I'm like, fuck. I have to do things right.
There's always ways to deal with everything.
See,
No.
perfect, right there. God damn it.
You may not like it. May not be the easy way, but sometimes you got to do it the hard way.
Seems to be really relevant recently.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I was kind of going to ask about a little bit of. I feel like. Let me backtrack 2 steps. You brought up last night coming back on, and today I was thinking about, what to talk about and where to go with it. And I realized a little bit today that on this particular podcast, I've kind of strayed away from everything that I've wanted to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
I've moved away from it. I kind of got distracted, I feel like.
Yeah.
On top of everything else that's going on, I haven't been scheduling for shit.
I've noticed.
Yeah, that's not on purpose. I'm just fucking doing a million things.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I wanted to find out, now that I've talked to so many different people, I feel like I should start asking the questions of how it looks now, after everything that we've talked about in the past, like your eyes are opening.
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, most definitely.
And we're gonna start seeing a new world kind of transform because of what you've been learning, and
Mm-hmm.
everything that you're going through is kind of changing you and it's teaching you.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to. This is the important shit that people, not everybody understands how to do, but is taking all the shit that life throws at you, and instead of just being upset about it and digging yourself a hole and fucking just wallowing in the shit, you fucking learn from it, and you make things better.
Yeah.
And you do it better the next time.
It's there's no point of digging, I don't know. I have dug my own grave more than once, let me tell you. Or dug myself a hole that I had no way to get out of it for a while, and I had to reach out for help a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
But typically nowadays, I have not been doing that. I've been getting better because I've been realizing a lot of things about in my life that need to be changed or need to be done.
I feel like one of the things that you've kind of found out, unfortunately, recently is kind of a little bit more what people are worth.
Yeah.
With some of the speed bumps that have been thrown your way, both good and bad. I feel like you've got the chance to discover
Mm-hmm.
people's true intentions, and
Well, everybody's true intentions eventually come out, and everybody's true colors do come out eventually.
Yep.
Some of them may not be the right way. Some of them are in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's for damn sure. It definitely goes both ways. What the fuck was I gonna say? What is wrong with me today? I don't remember. It's a motherfucker when you find out. There's no reason to be upset when you find out shit. It's just now you know where you stand, and let's move on and make it better.
yeah,
So
but still sometimes makes you wonder, is it something that I'm doing?
right.
At the end of the day, is it something that I need to fix?
That's definitely a big part of it is reflecting on what the situation is, and then being like, what's my part in this?
Exactly.
If nobody is gonna help me see if I do have a part in this, then how am I supposed to figure it out on my own?
Yeah.
That shit bugs me the most.
No, I agree. It's annoying and it's rough and it's hard and it just, and you get confused and you struggle with yourself because it's like, what are you doing?
Mhm.
Like, so you have to like take a step back and you have to look at everything that you've recently done, how you've talked to the person, like, or how you have acted, or all of it, and you sit there and you're like, that's where I went wrong with that. That's where I went wrong with that. Or maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was the other person. You have to also realize that too.
True.
Or maybe it was in the middle, because at the end of the day, nobody is perfect. And
Well, that's where communication comes in and how important it is, you know. And
I am definitely learning that one.
Yeah.
Communication.
the thing that sucks about communication is you can communicate all day long, but it's a matter of how it's going to be perceived.
Yes.
A lot of people don't understand that just because I'm communicating this way, like I'm not. People take communication as an attack, and it's fucking not half the time. It's just,
I'm very guilty of that, actually. Because I mean, I'm good at communicating, but at the same time, it's like if it's certain things that I don't want to hear about myself, I'm kind of just like, okay. But what you said to me the other day is that people listen to respond. People don't listen to understand.
Right.
That actually really hit me because I was like, holy cow. Like, that is so true with so many people that I know, or even with myself sometimes, because I get overheated and I jump in there and I'm like, you know, I just talk and I'm like interrupting or something, and I'm not listening at that point, and I'm not understanding.
and I'm definitely guilty of, you know, defending without real reason.
Yeah.
You know, everybody gets defensive. It's natural. But I want, as I get a little bit older and I start learning, you know, again, just trying to learn how to mitigate what the fuck we're supposed to be doing on this goddamn rock. I wish that people would give it the opportunity to actually have a conversation and to try to understand. It's hard. It's difficult. But it's worth it.
It is. It definitely is worth it at the end of the day. And I'm recently very guilty of doing that, of not listening and not understanding and being like that until it was too late by the time I was like, okay, let me listen and let me understand. So that really opened up my eyes. I'm like, yeah, I can't do that, or else I'm going to start losing a lot of people at this point. So
It sucks because I feel like I went on most of my life up until recently listening to respond, and I thought that was the right way. You know, so I would listen and I would respond to whatever was being said, and then I don't remember where I heard that or where I saw it, but when I saw that I was like, God damn it, that's level 3. I gotta figure out how to do that.
I know. I really took that into consideration the other day. I was like, holy cow.
It's a really bold move, you know, and it's something that is gonna get taken for granted for sure.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the hardest part. Is I've learned a lot that people, like, it's so cliche, but people mistake kindness for weakness,
No, they definitely do.
and that shit breaks my heart because it's every fucking day.
I'm not the person that I want to be all the time. I know I have a big heart. I know I'm kind. But I've also come to the point of where, like, kindness is taken for weakness. So I have stopped being so kind like how I used to be. And I kind of look back and I'm like, I kind of miss that, though. But people take so much advantage of it all the time nowadays.
They really do.
And you have to be careful who you are friends with and who you have in your life because of that. And it's like, if not, you're going to be taken for granted and walked on. And they're going to use you and put you down and destroy you. And you're going to be left with basically nothing. Or not part of yourself. And again, not really knowing where you went wrong because you were so kind and so, you know.
Well, it's I mean, you pay a lot of attention, and I feel like you know me pretty well at this point, but I think you've probably told me in the past, but you notice how observant I am?
Yes.
I'm typical in social scenarios, unless I'm engaged in an active conversation, I'm typically kind of quiet. I learned at some point to stop putting a foot forward and giving out that kindness as an option.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me because I always want to be that person, but sometimes you have to just wait for the correct time to engage that, you know?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to spend your life with everybody staring at you, waiting for it. Expecting it is a better word.
Yeah.
And I had to teach myself to stop doing that, you know?
I'm still learning that's for sure, because I am very, I don't know. I have learned to also set boundaries. Like, boundaries are a big thing, because I used to not have any boundaries. And in a way, I still don't with a lot of things. Like, I don't with a lot of people because I just deal with it. I just sit there and deal with it and deal with it and deal with it. And now I'm coming to the point I'm like, okay, I can't sit there and deal with this anymore. I can't deal with, like, sitting back and watching certain things happen, or, you know, things like that. And I say something, or I do something about it, because it's just like I've had so many boundaries. I literally, the other day, I had to take it upon myself to drop one of my family members because of the way that I was getting disrespected. So it's like I have to put that boundary out there, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I love you, but I can't, because this is not okay to me, and it's hurting me at the end of the day.
It's a mental weight on you. You know, it's a mental strain, and every day that it goes on, it's just going to get worse and worse.
Exactly. Until, like, and then I get to the point where of, like, my boundary keeps getting crossed and getting crossed and getting crossed and getting crossed, and I keep letting it happen. But then I snap, and I explode, and I am mean, and everybody's like, whoa, like, where did this come from? I'm like, this has been built up at this point. And it's not just, it's me taking everything out on that one person, even if that one person doesn't, like, you know, deserve it or whatever, you know, it could be the closest person to you, but I'm like taking out on everything. But they could just do one little thing that just triggers you and you're just done. And I've done that quite a few times. I've been doing it a lot recently, and I think it's just because I have been so overwhelmed and stressed out lately with everything going on in my life. I've been having to sit there and take a step back. Like, these last couple days, I have taken a step back, and I've been looking at everything that's been going on.
It's a difficult process, you know, reevaluating yourself like that, and deciding what you have to do for you is even harder.
Yeah.
Making those choices is not something anybody likes to do. One of the things I lean on pretty hard is just sometimes things just take time. Sometimes things have to be settled before the storm has to settle completely before you can look back and say what needs to be fixed now.
I don't like time.
I don't either. I
really don't.
I'm not a patient person at all. I'm a patient person. What the fuck? I'm not a patient person. I want things. You know, just like everybody else. I want instant gratification. I want things to be fixed now. I don't want to. I don't want to think about this shit for God knows how long.
Exactly.
It sucks. Sucks a lot.
It does.
But I've just learned that everybody heals in their own time, and you have to let things sit for a while.
Yeah.
There's a lot of my family that I still don't talk to. Very, very close. Well, you know what I mean when I say close family.
Close family.
Direct family that I'm still not talking to, and it's just like every time we communicate, we have an issue. So I'm just not doing this. I got enough shit. I'm trying to survive, you know. Why the fuck are you just causing more issues?
And sometimes it's like that. Like with my bio mom, like, I had to draw boundaries with her because it was very hard to deal with her and what she was also going through. And then I tried, and I really had to realize that too, because I'm still trying to grieve over it, you know, of her passing. But it's been 4 months, but I really had to take a step back and look at that too. I'm like, I tried for about 3 years to have a relationship with her. And it just never happened. It was always her complaining about something, this, and this, her never asking me how I'm doing. I think I had like 2 messages of her ever asking me how I'm doing without her randomly texting me and being, because I used to text her and I'd be like, how are you doing, you know, and she would just send novels and novels about it, and I'm like, I don't even really want to read this because it's all negative.
Right.
And that's also what I'm trying to work on too, is not being so negative. So I just had to sit there and I'm just like, I really realized that there was really no relationship, like how it needed to be.
Right, how it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emotional support, whether it's on one level or just on the basic level of not being so fucking negative on first interaction. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how important that was until I saw examples of it.
Yeah.
When I see certain people and the first reaction is some just negative weight, I'm like, okay, this was fun. Good to see you too.
No, yeah, and I agree.
And that sucks, you know. It just what do you want me to say? Don't be so fucking negative. That's fucking rude too.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't really want to be a part of that shit.
No, it's not healthy for your mentality either.
For the person saying it, or both of them for that matter.
Both.
Yeah. It just sucks because it's unnecessary, and it's like you said, it's not healthy. It's just.
Well, I've been told I'm a pretty negative person, and I'm like looking at myself and I'm like, I don't really see myself as a negative person. Like if I'm sitting there to you and I'm like explaining something and yeah, sometimes I can be negative. I beat myself up a lot though. But I'm like looking at it and I'm like, I'm really not, but at the end of the day I'm just explaining to you how I'm feeling in a way. You know? And it's like you're either going to take it or leave it.
I might be in a little bit of a different position, but I don't really ever see half of the shit that you kind of refer to when you come on here and talk. So I don't understand, and that's okay. That's what conversation's for.
Yeah.
But I don't understand half of the stuff that you kind of refer to about yourself. I don't see it. Maybe it's just we don't introduce those feelings because we don't need to.
Yeah.
On a normal.
No.
You know, you and I don't really have any fucking negative shit to say. We don't really have any negative stuff to share.
No.
Like 99% of the time, you and I are just having a fucking good time.
And bullshitting.
Yeah. So I guess I don't see the negativity that you refer to. I don't see how you beat yourself up. I don't know.
I guess in a way, like beating myself up is like I don't care for myself because I let people walk all over me and things like that. That's a negative thing though.
It is, but I feel like that's a stretch.
It is.
It's kind of a stretch, you know, to connect those two dots, in my opinion. I don't feel like that's like such a negative thing about yourself. You're letting people walk on you. Because, I mean, if that's the case, then you can go ahead and say the same thing about me.
Yeah.
Literally, it's the same circumstances.
Yeah.
But I disagree with that. I feel like that's a kind heart trying to make things right and trying to help people out.
Exactly. And that's how I view it too, because that is how I view it. Because it's like, I'm just trying to be helpful. Like, you don't understand. Like, I've been in this position. Like, I've done these things before. I have been there. And I am young, but I'm like, I have been there. Like, I see people, like, in their, like, later 20s, and I'm sitting there, or, like, they have kids and stuff, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I don't know why, but I don't know why you're having kids when you're not, you know,
right,
mentally ready and things like that. And people... I don't know.
The only thing I've seen from the outside is you feeding everybody for like the last 6 months.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you can use that. I don't mean literally food, but
yeah,
in every way, shape, or form, you've been picking up a lot of fucking pieces and helping out everybody that you can.
Exactly. And
I'm really having a hard time understanding where the negative connotation is.
Well, I guess it's because it's towards myself, and I'm not. At the end of the day, I take care of everybody else before I take care of myself. And I have noticed that I do that. And it's coming to the point of, when am I going to start caring for myself?
Can you elaborate on that?
Like, when am I going to start, like...
I guess the question is, how are you not caring for yourself?
Because I'm not doing things that I enjoy to do anymore
Oh, okay.
in a lot of different ways.
I see.
Like, I want to get back out and go ride horses again. Like, I need to start drawing and painting again. I have not. I don't even read anymore. I have not been doing anything that is mentally good for me in that way. Like,
Sure.
like
yeah.
watching TV is not good. Like,
That's-
it's good once in a while. Like,
Yeah.
or like on, like, you know, when you're laying down, like that's,
Every once in a while, it's cool.
but like continuously, or that's all you do, like this, and this. Like, I've really noticed that about myself. Like, I'm not doing anything that I love anymore.
You know what? I fuck with that statement. Now I do understand, because this is something that I've really put in a lot of effort into doing. You know, it's not for me. It's not always the financially smartest choice, but I really, honestly, I refuse to let my struggles dictate how much shit I'm gonna enjoy in this life. I'm just not gonna lay down and die.
No.
I'm just not gonna do it. I have to do things that keep me mentally stimulated, and keep me wanting to take care of me mentally and do what I enjoy sometimes. And I see that, and I understand that shit is hugely important.
It is. And it's because it's like, in a way, you're neglecting yourself, because like you're so focused on everything else and everybody else around you that you're neglecting yourself in a way, because of the fact that you're not sitting there and taking time out of your day and doing something that you enjoy.
When you say yes to everybody for so long, and it becomes an expected response, you say yes to everybody, it's just going to fill in your time, and that's how. Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying.
And then when
now.
you say no to those people
It's
or
a
things,
fucking problem.
it's an issue.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sorry. Like, at the end of the day, like, I can't.
I have me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's because at the end of the day, you're the one that's you're gonna die by yourself, right? You are. You're gonna die by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in theory.
Yes, in theory, yes. But basically, at the end of the day, it's only you.
Yeah.
So it's not everybody else. It is really only you. And you only have yourself every single night when you close your eyes. It doesn't matter if you have somebody laying with you. It doesn't matter this. It's you and your thoughts. You and what you do.
What is it?
You and your thoughts.
Me versus me.
Me versus me. Exactly.
It's so crazy to think about it that way, because without you being the best version of yourself, how can you expect to give that to everybody else?
Yeah.
It sucks. I'm really sorry.
And I think that's where it comes in, is like, that's why, like, if you're not being the best version of yourself, I think that's where it comes in, when like you're not, people are like starting to like notice it in a way. Or you have specific people call you out on it, and you're like, oh, or you start getting more irritated, you start getting like mentally drained and like mentally gone and done with everything, physically and mentally, at that point.
It's fine. Whatever, White Claw. No, it's mentally draining is probably the best way to describe that, because it really just puts a draw on your day to day. You just feel like this sack of shit with fucking legs.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, that's a really graphic way to put it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just how I feel, because I'm walking around in a humid shop all day. This is fucking nasty as fuck. But yeah, you have these thoughts that just consume your brain constantly. So brain activity for yourself is out of the question.
That's why like overthinking is like a major thing in a lot of people nowadays.
100%. And it doesn't help that the world's moving as fast as it is.
No.
And money is getting worse and worse. And it's just all these mental weights are just, they're hard to deal with.
They are.
And the best thing, one of the best things you can do, in my opinion, is try to take care of yourself sometimes.
And it's also like, how do you cope with it though sometimes?
Yeah, it is.
And that's the hardest thing. That's a lot, like, you have to figure out, is how are you going to cope with this? How are you going to deal with this today? Like, I
struggle with that.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. I think a lot of people do. I just don't think a lot of people talk about it.
No, they don't. And that's the issue. A lot of people also don't I don't know. My boundaries are set up, not my boundaries. I should say my walls, because I have walls built up, and I have like taught myself not to ask for help. Like even though like struggling with everything, hi Doodle. When I'm struggling with everything, I just don't, even when I need the help.
Oh, that's a rough topic for me. That is. I don't like. For one, I don't like asking for help either. Pretty sure I don't have to tell you that.
I understand.
But even worse than what it does to me, I also don't like, regardless of what was said and regardless of the conversation, I don't like owing people.
Yeah.
And not everybody takes advantage of that, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
You know? But sometimes they do.
Mhm.
And when that shit happens, it's like, come on. Like, right fucking now?
Yeah.
It's never at a good time, and it just... Doodle, stop shaking. Hi. Stop shaking. But I don't like I said, whether or not the person acknowledges it, it's on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's just who I am.
Yeah.
If somebody helps me out, then all right, well,
Some type of way you feel like you need to repay them.
I owe that,
Yeah.
and that time will come.
Yeah.
But probably also not a good way to look at it. Probably not very healthy, but it is what it is.
There's two ways to go with that. So.
Like you said, there's ways of dealing with it.
Oh yeah, always. May not be the best way, but there's a way. May hurt even you, and I think that's another issue. Is like I don't like hurting people.
No, I fucking don't either.
I really don't. I'm so against hurting people, so I'll hurt myself over and over and over and over again before I hurt somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, but then I hurt the people that are the closest to me, which is the issue that I have. Because I rely on them in a way, like I count on them to be there, you know, like they're not going anywhere, so I do take that for granted until they do go somewhere, and it's like, oh, okay, now I fucked up, and I can't really take that back because I'm treating you like not the best, like I'm being mean, I'm not being nice, you know, and things like that, and I'm like sitting there, I'm like, oh, well, you can really leave, you know, but everybody else that like. I try to be so nice too. So nice. And I don't want to hurt them. And that's like where I come into my issues, is because it's like I know I need to work on myself and focus on myself, but I'm sitting there and I'm like working on other people and focusing on other people instead of myself, because I feel like their needs, especially when they need help, is more important than my own at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I tell people pretty often, just in general conversation, like this world is hard enough without me being a pain in the ass or making shit worse. You know, I don't believe in causing turmoil on purpose.
Yeah.
I just don't. It's not who I try to be these days. It's something I try to avoid.
And you're not a very angry person, like at all. You're really not.
I try not to be.
I've noticed that. Like, if somebody could do something and, like, screw you over so bad and you're like, well, that kind of hurt, but, you know, I'm not going to be mad at you. And I've really noticed that about you.
I tried to teach myself a long time ago that there's just, no matter all the bullshit that we're going through, all the bills, all the shit, you know, there's just no sense if you can train yourself to just not get fucking worked up.
Yeah.
It's not going to do you any good. I know.
I'm bad about that. It causes stress.
Well, this isn't something that I fucking learned how to do overnight, you know?
Yeah.
I just used to tell myself, like, okay, you're not going to change it right this fucking second.
Is it worth it?
Right. So I'm going to just try to take my mind off it. We're going to sleep on it. We'll deal with it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's just fucking get through the pain of knowing that just happened and fucking move on. I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to go curse at him, because what's that going to do?
Make things worse.
Right. I'm just not, and that's why I don't understand it. It's like road rage is a perfect example. What you want to fucking yell at me? Get it out of your system and move the fuck on.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. We're not gonna stand on the side of Bell Road and fist fight about it.
No,
So
just keep driving. Mind
Right.
your business. Like,
shit happens. I don't know. I don't like to complain about things. I don't like to be upset about things. If something has to get taken care of, then I'll take care of it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not going to go away.
Poof. Like, I wish.
Yeah, everybody wishes. This is like the whole.
You just think it, and you're like, I want this gone.
Yeah.
I want that gone.
It's a
That'd be nice.
conversation everybody has about like credit. They're like, oh, in 7 years it'll go away. I'm like,
7 years is a long time.
joke's on you, bitch. That's not how that works.
And it's also a long time.
It's a long fucking time. So yeah.
In theory.
I try not to get mad. I try not to get too upset. I try to be reasonable and have reasonable conversations, which typically doesn't go my way,
Yeah.
which is fine. It's okay. It's just I have to realize that there's not a lot of people that, I don't know how to say this without being dickish, but like the ability to have a conversation to understand is not something a lot of people are consciously available to do.
Yeah.
And that's not their fault, you know?
Sometimes people, like, also just need to, like, I don't know. Like, I've noticed sometimes I wish, like, I had somebody just to sit down and listen. You know, like, I don't want a response. I don't need a response. I just need to get all this off my chest. Yes, you can put your input in, which is fine. That does not bother me. But if you're just, like, responding to everything that's coming out of my mouth, I'm just like...
Shut up.
I'm like, okay, like, shut up. Be quiet.
I was guilty of that one for a long time. Because I'm just like man brain.
Yeah.
If you bring me a list of problems, I'm going to give you a list of solutions. I had to teach myself just shut the fuck up sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes people they aren't looking for solutions. They're just looking to put it out there.
Right.
So that they can understand in a way in their own mind how to get through that.
One of the things with that, and it's a weird word to choose, but I'm kind of grateful for, is that when that stuff does happen, it helps me better understand where that person's at.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, weird example, I work with like 30 mechanics. And I often catch myself wondering, there's 30 of these motherfuckers and they're all acting like nothing is happening. They're all just working. Like, how much shit is each one of these guys going through too? You know what I mean?
You never know.
And I try to keep myself on a human level, because every fucking person that we come in contact with has some bullshit going on in their head.
Yeah.
And
you literally never know what somebody has been through
100%.
or gone through, unless you physically have walked in their shoes, which is impossible. But you never know.
And that's where I've felt grateful when people confide in me enough to share their struggles with me, you know, whether it's for a solution or not. I'm grateful to understand where people are, especially people that I care about that are in my life, because I'm a pretty observant person in the sense that if something changes in you over a week's time, I'm probably going to see it.
Yeah.
You know, I see when people are like changing and not communicating, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And as me being who I am, I want to respond to that. You know, it's just in my nature.
Well, yeah. Nature and nurture.
Aha. Back to that shit. So, I'm grateful for those conversations.
But it also helps you understand who they are as a person. And then you can go... Because sometimes you can't approach people head on with things.
No.
Like, you can't. Sometimes you have to... Hello, camera. He's going to take the whole thing down.
He's already done it. Go lay down. Lay down.
Sometimes you have to, and that helps you, better understand how you're going to approach things.
100%.
On how they are and who they are.
Yeah.
You know, if you think that you know them and you're just going to approach them with, full on, here's your problems, here's what you need to fix, here's this, this, and this, and this, and the other person's, not understanding, of course, because you don't know what's going on in their head and you don't know how they comprehend things. So if you're able to understand how somebody comprehends things, it makes things easier.
Everybody approaches things differently in their own time. And that's the hardest thing to realize, is that nothing is ever going to be the exact same way that you lay it out.
Exactly. Sometimes it takes me sometimes to process things longer than a month, longer than 2 months,
Yeah.
longer than 3 months. You know, sometimes it just takes time to process things
Mm-hmm.
about what people are trying to say to you and get through to you. And then you're like, oh, I actually see what you're saying now to me, and I'm sorry. Or I'll work on that, or, you know, something, anything, or you're like, okay, it's just about understanding who somebody is as an individual.
Kind of goes along with everything we were talking about a little bit off air. Is just like, rather than exploding to get your point across, you know,
Which I do sometimes.
we both, you say your fucking piece. Now how I feel is out in the air. Let that shit sink in. Let it marinate. And, you know, however that decision plays out is just how it's going to be. I mean, I guess you could... That conversation varies. That was pretty vague on air, but hopefully you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah. It's just... Again, it goes back to no sense in getting yourself all worked up.
Exactly.
Or trying not to.
Yeah.
I know that's difficult.
It is definitely difficult, and I think that's what a lot of people struggle with nowadays, and I think that's why so many people struggle with anger,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know how to, like, deal with anything. Deal with it. They really don't,
Mhm.
because they just work themselves up and work themselves up and work themselves up. And then you put, like, digging yourself a hole. Like, going back on that, that's what you're doing, basically.
You are.
The more you do that, the more you are digging yourself a hole, which is not good.
And unfortunately, when you go down that road or go down that hole,
Road hole.
either way,
I get it.
it doesn't do anything but make things worse on so many different levels. Could result in bad things happening to your physical world as well as your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's all a matter about how you address these things.
I agree.
So I've recently found myself, when the tide gets high, I just try to separate myself from the negativity.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part of it. Shit, like I said, shit's already hard enough.
Yeah.
There's no sense in making it worse.
Exactly, and that's something that I am recently learning how to do, because it doesn't just put, when another person comes in and has negative things and negativity, it also puts you down in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So it puts your mental mind, makes your mental mind negative. So and I'm struggling with it. I'm learning as the days go on, especially right now. I'm learning that, I have to release the negative energy to be able to have positive energy.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of goes on, like, your attitude affects my attitude in a
Mhm.
way. If you come at me, I'm going to come back at you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're nice to me, I'm going to be nice to you. Like, those are, like, positive and negative.
Well, that goes back to what I was saying earlier about walking into a negative situation that may not even necessarily be about you.
Mm-hmm.
Just walking in. If you were to come sit down, and all I had was just like, my day fucking sucked. I'm fucking tired of this shit. I'm tired of this fucking life.
Yeah.
How happy are you really gonna be? Oh, god damn, I gotta talk to this guy. Fuck.
Exactly.
How fucking happy are you really gonna be to sit down and have a conversation with me?
Exactly. And at the end of the day, like, I understand that everybody goes through their things. Like, if you want to talk to me about it.
Right.
But don't. If I personally would not want to sit down and I would be like, oh, okay, like, I'm sorry you feel this way. And then most of the time people don't want to hear I'm sorry. And it's like, well, I don't know how else I'm supposed to feel right now.
That's the other thing too, is what do you want me to say to that?
Yeah,
I had a pretty good day up until now.
exactly.
So, I'm sorry. Yeah, again, you don't want to hear that. I don't know how to fix it.
That's another thing. People throw around sorry a lot.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean shit.
And no, because sorry is supposed... This is how I believe in sorries. Sorries are supposed to be... It's like actions speak louder than words in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Because so if you're going to sit there and you're going to say sorry, you better mean it. Because I'm looking there and you're not going to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're going to do it again, do not say you're sorry to me. Then I'm going to know. That's why I don't tend to say sorry to a lot of people, because sometimes I don't know. if I'm gonna end up doing it again by accident or something, or like when I get into a fight with somebody and I say I'm sorry, like it's like, well, I can't say I'm sorry because at this time and moment I don't know if we're gonna get into another fight. I don't know what's gonna be said or if this conversation is gonna be brought back up and it's gonna frustrate me and make me mad. Like I can't sit there and I can't say I'm sorry. That's why I really have a struggling time with I'm sorry's, because to me it's like, if you're going to say sorry, then things need to be changed.
I personally think it's inappropriate to throw around too. And I know it's strange because some people use it more often than not. But if I am going to go, I apologize for things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't throw that around.
Yeah.
I just don't, because why? Most of the time it's, why would I be sorry for saying or doing something that I didn't understand?
Yeah, exactly.
Can you teach me how to do it correctly, or can you teach me what I need to do next time?
And that's the thing, is a lot of people aren't willing to sit there and help you learn it and teach you through any of that. People are just like, okay, I'm gone. Like,
just want to get mad.
Yep, they want to get mad, or they're like, I'm gone, bye. And you're like, okay, like and then you're going to repeat it, of course, because you're not understanding what you're doing sometimes.
Right.
So it's...
I kind of go through this shit at work where the way that I work, being a mechanic, I like to use points of reference from other people. It's just how I work, especially with that many fucking people around me. If sometimes I like to have another set of eyes or another set of ears on something, or I'll ask for opinions or things like that. That's just who I am. And a lot of these guys, I can tell just by the way that they respond to me now, they just assume half the time and explain to me some really dumb shit just because they think that because I'm asking questions that I don't know shit.
Well, it's also reassuring yourself.
But it is, and I'm building my mental strength and my capacity for my job.
Yeah.
And they just assume.
Well, how do you spell assume? ASS, you and me. It makes an ass out of you and me.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why, like, when people, like, start assuming things, that's literally what I tell them. I don't care who you are. I'll tell you. I was like, you're assuming. You're making an ass out of you and me right now, so I would not be assuming if I were you.
I feel like, on that note, if one of them were to ask me exactly, how much I do know and kind of delve into that, they'd be really fucking surprised to know that sometimes I just like to bounce ideas off you.
Yeah, because sometimes people have different...
I do that in the real world,
ways
too.
that they do things. Sometimes it's going to be easier, and you're like, oh, okay. Or sometimes it's going to be harder, and you're like, all right. Like,
Right.
and you figure things out. That's why you ask questions. That's why you have to, like, continuously ask.
There's really no such thing as a dumb question.
No, there's not.
If you're building your fucking knowledge base, and that stands for anything in your real world, there's no such thing as a dumb question. There shouldn't be. You should never be ashamed to ask a fucking question if you're trying to educate yourself.
Exactly.
And that gets taken for granted so often. And this is why we just take shit by the reins and say, well, fuck it, I'm just going to do it on my own.
Exactly.
Because people decide...
And then people are going to sit there and judge you.
Yep.
For how you do it on your own. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, I'm sitting here and I'm doing this by myself.
I fucking asked you.
Exactly.
I fucking asked you. So, well, it's a vicious circle. All of it is.
Yeah.
There's no pleasing people.
At the end of the day, no, there's not.
Yeah, it sucks.
You got to take care of yourself before you take care of really anybody else.
I don't even like taking care of me. Fuck.
Well, you got to start.
It's fine. I'll figure it out. Yeah, it's been this last year has been a wild ride.
Already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, already we're almost through it.
I know. Halfway through it.
I was talking to somebody yesterday about the weather, and I was like, it was one of my customers about a truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I just don't want you to have this issue while you're in the middle of summer. And he goes, buddy, it's the middle of August. I was like, oh shit, summer's almost done.
Yeah, I know.
That motherfucker.
It's gone by so quick. Like, I literally just feel like it
Thank God.
was New Year's.
I'm thankful because it's been a hot one.
Yeah, it definitely, this it's been pretty, it's been pretty wild outside. I don't even want to go outside. I'm like,
Yeah.
I dread it.
It's fine. I'm fine. I spent a lot of time in the pool.
Do you?
A lot. It's easy and cheap relief.
That is true.
You know what I mean? I take a speaker, I take some brewskis, and go soak in the bathtub.
A cold one.
I
mean, it depends.
Yeah, it's
Where the
fucking,
sun-
motherfucker's got some warm water. It's alright, I don't mind it. Well, I'm glad to hear since the last time we talked that it makes me happy to know that you come into these conversations with an open mind and you hold on to some of the shit that we talk about.
Oh yeah.
I think it's hugely important that we don't bring the dog in here next time. It's hugely important that, you know, not just these conversations, but that you're learning from the shit that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, otherwise you just be running the same fucking circle you were.
Exactly. It's learning is that's all this world is about, is learning.
Yeah, you learn and you make it better.
You're gonna learn and make mistakes too, and you learn from those mistakes, and you make it better.
Exactly, and it's really it's a cool thing to witness.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that. It's taken time. I don't think I've been on here since April, so it's taken a while.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And I've been slacking. We've both been pretty busy.
Yes. Life does get busy and gets in the way sometimes.
Doodle, you're annoying. Oh, podcast puppy.
He's a cute one, though.
He's a cute one. He's a little annoying sometimes, but he's cute. Well, on that note, it's a little bit early, but I feel like we've expended quite a bit of information. You have anything else that you want to delve on?
No?
No. You actually have a look of relief on your face at this point.
Oh yeah.
You look a
I
little-
feel a little bit better. I'm not gonna lie.
Ow, fuck.
Sometimes it takes me sometimes that's why I'm like, do you want to schedule one? Because sometimes I feel better and it may not even pertain to how I'm feeling, but it makes me feel better in some type of way.
That's what.
Because it's like I'm learning as I go too. Because you do have different views on things, and I have different views on things. Everybody does. So
Yeah,
I'm taking in what I can.
Your views and your learnings are valuable, not just to you, but to me too.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
That's why you learn from each other.
fuck yes. Keys to this life. Don't fucking forget it, people. Learn. Educate yourself. Ask questions. Fucking don't make shit more complicated than it has to be. You know, we're all in this shit together.
And care for yourself.
And care for yourself a little bit. Do shit that you want. Go to that concert you can't afford, you know? Fucking get that small tattoo you shouldn't get. Fucking
Or big one.
or big one. Whatever. You know, do things that you like to do. It really keeps you alive. So, on that note, if you guys haven't already heard about or seen about, the Me vs. Me Productions has a new podcast called Dirty Smoke. We produce and record every Thursday. We try strange drinks and strange meals. It's gonna be a wild one.
Ooh, I got a couple for that one.
It's comedy, it's fun, and it is a good time. So check it out. It's only got a few episodes up right now, but again, Dirty Smoke. And for any questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave them on the Spotify episode of your choice on this one. Or that one. Fuck them, any of them. Or wherever you're listening. Or at meversusmeinfo@gmail.com. Feel free to leave anything, drop a line, say hi. Anything you got. So, all right. Nothing else to add?
Nope.
All right. Well, we'll see you later, folks.